One of my sister-in-laws had a baby a month ago, and their church does meals and that sort of thing. And I said, when they're done bringing you meals and all that, and you're ready for some meals, let me know, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed with things, but I would love to bring you food. So I was told they're ready for food. Let me show you my plan. So whenever I'm making food for other people, I also make food for ourselves, because it's ridiculous to not. So I have a couple packages, some are moose, some are beef, of stew meat from 2020 that got forgotten about. So I'm gonna make pot pies with that. And then I have 3 pounds of bacon, and I'm gonna make bacon fried rice. And then I have a ham, this is about 4 or 5 pounds, I think. And I'm gonna make scalloped potatoes with ham. I always freezer cook based on what I have lots of. So I know what they like to eat and all that jazz. I knew these were things that I needed to use. I have lots of potatoes to use, so that's why there's 2 potato meals. And I will start the day by getting the ham cooking. Right now it's like 9 o'clock at night. So I just got meat out. I'm gonna put it on cookie sheets to thaw on the counter overnight. It won't even be fully thawed in the morning, but it'll be thawed enough. Get the ham cooking, cook all the stew meat, wash and cook a pile of potatoes for cubing up for the pot pies. And I'm actually gonna do like a cheesy potato crust on the pot pie, because again, we have potatoes to use. It's June 15th. It's getting soft in the root cellar, so they need to be used up. Also get rice cooking first thing in the morning too, so that it can cool down, so that I can make the fried rice. So the fried rice and the pot pie are both on venisonfordinner.com. The scalloped potatoes are not, but there is other potato dishes that are delicious. Normally I would also bring some sort of treat or baked good. I actually just baked a bunch of bread tonight, so I threw most of it in the freezer. I did 3 loaves and 2 trays of buns, so I'll bring some of those too. I'm hoping to bring these to them tomorrow evening. I know what I was gonna say. Their young kids do not handle sugar well, so I will not be bringing any treats. But I did ask if they want any sort of breakfast, and they said they would love some granola. They liked the granola that I gave them last week, and otherwise they just eat a lot of eggs for breakfast. So I'll bring eggs, because we have a lot of eggs right now. So I haven't even sat down with tea yet this morning. It's 7 o'clock. I have 2 trays of bacon for the oven. I have the ham already in the oven. I have all the fish that Marius is smoking today, rinsed. So this is a salmon jerky up to here. This is some trout, and then this is for smoked salmon. This trout is for smoked trout. So it has to dry with a fan for a couple hours, and this forms like this tacky surface called a pellicle. So this is a white spring. Have you guys seen a white spring before? It's a white salmon. It's just genetically that way. And they used to get less money for them because people know salmon as being that color. But I think it's pretty cool. Marius will be getting up in a few. He has all the smoker racks cleaned and prepped, and he's got all his wood. He has like little wood chips that he made from fruit wood that we got from friends who are cutting down trees. He's got it all chipped, and he's got it soaking, because then it smokes better. So he'll get up soon and he'll get the fire going, and by that point these will have sat long enough that they can go in. This is going to be an all-day job for him, and I'm going to be in the kitchen all day. So I'm going to get rice going, and then I'm going to sit down with the mint tea I made. We don't always go to bed and get up at drastically different times, but this is where it's very beneficial, because he stayed up late working on stuff, and I got up earlier to get prepping stuff so that he can get going on what he needs to not have too late of a night smoking fish today. Now, got my big bucket of rice that you can't see. Hi, Amos. Yes, I'm gonna sit down with you in just a minute. Amos is watching a cartoon, patiently waiting for me. We need a scoop, you're right. You want to give me a scoop?
Yeah.
That's not quite big enough. Here, I actually need a way bigger scoop. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Let's, out of here. I would like this one. Can you take this one for me? No, you want those ones. No, we're staying out of there. The rice is all done, and I put it in a nice big bowl so that it can cool down, and I'll stir it around because you don't want to freeze warm things. The bacon is cooked. I didn't want it to be like crispy cooked. I want it to be just kind of like soft cooked. So I'm gonna wash this pot so that I can toss my stew meat in. You need a bit of water, otherwise an Instant Pot won't come up to pressure. And then I also added in this herb blend mushroom salt that I made. Mushroom salt recipes on venisonfordinner.com. It's a great all-purpose seasoning salt. We use it for everything. So we're going to get this cooking and on to the next step, friends. So my ham is done cooking here. We're gonna let it cool down. And why is it moving? Just because it's sliding in there?
No.
And my stew meat is done, so we're gonna load the top there. Were you using a potty? And did you get chocolate?
Yeah. Let's go with you a diaper.
So the meat is nice and fall apart tender, and I've got lots of broth in here too that I can use for making the gravy. So I like to break things down so that, number one, you can like take small bites at a time on your list. And number two, it's very satisfying to cross off lots of things, right? Okay, so for the fried rice, I've already cooked the bacon and done the rice, so I didn't write those down. If you need some wins, write those down and cross those off. I need to cook my scrambled eggs, make my sauce, cut up the bacon, and then I mix it all together with frozen vegetables and bag it up in gallon bags. It should all be pretty cool at that point. The rice is cooling down quite fast. And then I put it in gallon bags and freeze them flat. So that one is a pretty quick one to get a lot of meals in the freezer for. I need to wash a pile of potatoes, and it looks like I have a volunteer.
I have to do school.
I can.
That's what I like.
For the pot pies, I cooked the meat. I need to cook potatoes. We need to wash the potatoes first. Then I have all the juices. I'm gonna make the gravy. Then I'll assemble the filling, which will be the gravy, the meat, potatoes, and then I just use frozen vegetables because it's so easy to mix that together. Then I need to make mashed potatoes. Once I cook potatoes, just like regular cooked potatoes, then I'm in the Instant Pot, and then I'm gonna make another round of potatoes to be mashed potatoes. I do have a second Instant Pot, but the pressure sensor went, and I did get a new one, but I haven't, like a new pressure sensor, I haven't replaced it yet. Don't feel like playing with that today. That might be a Mac job. I bet Mac would be really good at doing that.
Yeah, but
So then I'm gonna do pot pies that I'm gonna do with a mashed potato crust, like I said last night. So I'll put the pot pie filling into 9x13 pans, and then I'm gonna make, it'll be kind of like a shepherd's pie, pot pie mashup. Then a mashed potatoes and a nice layer of cheese on top. So when you bake them, that cheese is gonna be so delicious. Scalloped potatoes. I already cooked the ham. I need to cut up the ham, slice raw potatoes, make a white sauce, and then I'll layer it in pans, and then I'm gonna use frozen peas in there too. So it'll be like a scalloped potato casserole. Table's sticky.
Yeah.
Well, I asked Hamish, did you spray and wipe the table?
yeah.
It needs another round. It's still sticky. Please spray and wipe the table again, Ham.
Okay. Then you.
Depending on how I'm feeling on meals, I'm going to make granola and refined sugar-free monster cookies from my blog. I also need to feed my clabber culture, which is really fast, but it's on my list. I need to make sour cream, so I need to skim some cream, add some clabber culture to it. And also we have some eggs here that I need to put away with hashing eggs. And it's getting loud in here, so that's the end of my chatting for now. Let's get cooking. So yes, these potatoes are majorly sprouting, but friends, they're still firm enough. And once they're cooked, nobody's gonna know. So this is also why I need to use up a bunch of them. Like this one is softer, but when you open it up, as long as the flesh still looks good, even if it's softer, it's just fine for cooking. Just knock the sprouts off into the chicken bucket. So I've got clabber fed here, and it's gonna sit on the counter for 24 hours, and sour cream, which is just cream with a bit of clabber culture, only about a teaspoon. Hey Rowan, you keep going on your jobs, okay, sweetie pie? Hamish is getting going on eggs. I hear you. You need a drink of water? Come in here. Look at this. You can use whatever eggs, just don't get any shells. Anyhow, I skimmed the cream off of this jar, and now it's going to become chocolate milk. So my chocolate milk powder recipe is on venisonfordinner.com.
Chocolate milk?
I, of course, changed my recipe up a little bit. I actually added curry powder into the seasoning, the sauce, which is kind of like nasi goreng inspired, which is what Marius grew up with for fried rice, was nasi goreng, being from a Dutch family. So I'm putting it in bags now, and I find this is a really great freezer meal, not only to make in summer but to eat in summer, because the prep of it involves very little heat. It's not like you have the oven on for a long time, and to cook it you're pan frying it, which you could do on the side burner of a barbecue outside if you needed to cook outside. So it's not like a casserole that you need to bake. It's lighter. It's still a warm meal, but it doesn't like sit as hot and heavy as having a stew or a casserole or that sort of thing. So you do need to take it out and let it thaw in the fridge. So it is one you do need to plan ahead a little bit to eat, but it's a great one when you're like, man, what are we gonna do for dinner tomorrow night? Super busy. We can grab this out. You could grab it out in the morning and leave it on the counter for a couple hours and put it in the pan still kind of frozen. But it's best if it is fully thawed. And what's the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, the trick to making it not just like mushy is to cook it low and slow, like a frying pan on medium low, and just don't stir it around a bunch, just like flip it here and there, just trust the process. Put a dinner worth in a container in the fridge for another day, and then I have 3 for the freezer. I was kind of aiming for 2 or 3 pot pies, but I'm actually making 4 based on how much meat I had, because it's 2 cups per pot pie. So now I'm gonna dice potatoes, and I'm getting the gravy started. Since I'm only roughly following the recipe, after I stirred everything around, I realized I needed more vegetables to have a better vegetable ratio. Some of these are still kind of frozen in clumps, but the meat and potatoes are a bit warm and they'll thaw it out. Oh, Amos, go easy there. And Mac is cutting up ham and eating it too. And Hamish is getting going on making cookies. What you got there for you? You got a giant green bean from the garden last year? Delicious.
It was like that much bigger.
Okay, so the pot pie here, we have 2 for them, 1 for the freezer for us, and this one is gonna be
Who's that?
Auntie Kelsey and Uncle Simon. And this one is gonna be our dinner tonight because I'm running low on pans and I don't have any disposable ones to send them with.
Are we bringing them today?
We're not bringing them today, no, we're gonna just freeze them. So yeah, I have potatoes in the Instant Pot to make our mashed potatoes, and Hamish and Amos, maybe Amos, are currently making cookies. You're making a mess, yes. Could you not ruin my book though?
And instead of Amos, a mess.
You're making a mess? A mess?
Is Amos making?
Oh no, you.
Making a mess?
He was licking the peanut butter spoon already. So while I'm working on the scalloped potato casseroles here, and potatoes are just about done for these, Freya is working on making cookies. The boys went outside to do some chores, and Rowan and Amos went along with them.
Yeah, boys don't know they're watching.
Dad's outside too. They're fine. Making one large pan. It's like 1.5 times the size of a 9x13, and it's going to be our home church lunch for Sunday. And I don't think we have a big crowd, and that will be easy. Make ahead. I'm going to cook it today. We'll just have to warm it up while we're singing hymns. It's just about lunchtime here, and we have already made 4, 8, 10 dinners. Right on.
3, 4.
I'm at a part where I can pause for a few minutes. So friends, it's time to put my feet up for a few. While I was working, a certain dog decided she was very hungry and helped herself to half one of these. So we are down a casserole here, friends. The scalloped potato casserole is done cooking, so I just put cheese on top that will melt, and when it gets reheated, the cheese will get all bubbly and browned and delicious. But they need to cool before one will go in the fridge and one in the freezer.
Be handy.
I smelled the smoke and I had like a little bit of panic. Looks good. You didn't run out of space.
No, could have had.
Could have done more. Oh, that salmon jerky looks good.
Yep.
I did decide to make the refined sugar-free monster cookies on venisonfordinner.com. In my family, we call them 104-inch cookies because the recipe growing up, I scaled it down, but it used to make 104-inch cookies.
Are they building stuff? Something? Yeah. Yeah, just will be nice. You put the puppies in the run and we can lock in.
I got a bunch of wood scraps up here that you can. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, where are you going?
Try to do a dump run.
Miss, say hi.
Yeah, you want to go check the big garden with me? See if it needs to be watered?
Huh?
Let's go. Go get your boots on.
No, Mom.
Well, you know what?
I'm admittedly losing some steam, but I got one more round of cookies to bake. I gotta take them off the trays and put new cookies on and put them in the oven. I gotta put the ham bone on for broth. And then, like I showed you before, this last bit of mashed potatoes, there's about a cup. I could have made it work onto those, but I decided to save it, and I'm gonna make salmon patty mix because it keeps in the fridge for a few days. So I'm just gonna put it in a container in the fridge for another day when we need a fast meal. And we just pan fry them like burgers, nuggets, dip them in ketchup. Overall, it's been a productive day, even losing one pan to the dogs. It's okay. We can handle it. And the kitchen isn't too bad. Like, it kind of looks chaotic, but there's a lot of really bulky things spread out. We've been cleaning as we go. The boys were helping me, and then Marius called them outside again, and then Freya was helping me, and then she went to deal with puppies. So my help keeps getting lost. So funny enough, the cheese I grabbed, I was like, oh, this one, the seal has just broken on this bag. Let's use this one. And it's the Alpine from the cheese tutorial. So if you have my free Clabber course, which you can find at venisonfordinner.com/shop, this is the cheese that I make in that course. So I have the mashed potatoes and a pint jar of smoked salmon, a couple eggs, dill. I really love dill in salmon patties. It just fits. And this will sit till I'm ready to fry them up. Now, dinner, we had one of the shepherd's pie, pot pie-ish meals, and
What do you think?
friends, it was delicious.
You ready for dinner?
Totally a make again sort of meal.